Hi, Tammy. You there?
Yes, hi.
Hi there. How are you?
Oh,
Doing
doing
good?
good. Thank you.
All right. I don't see Nicole and Aaron. It seems
No.
that they haven't joined us yet. Anyway, we got to start. Okay. Okay. So, hi, Aaron. You're there. Good afternoon. Good evening to you.
How are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm fine. I hope
Okay.
I hope you didn't have too much of a problem yesterday.
The thing is that yesterday was totally unusual because I was like, okay, I don't know if you believe it or not, but it's
You, you,
strange.
you, you don't have to
This,
explain. I'm just hoping that everything
the
is. I'm just hoping
Yeah,
everything
it's just that
is okay.
something happened that I had to take my wife to the doctors. She was suspecting that she has something, of that
Yeah, okay,
virus.
that's fine. Yes, sir.
It's just like she spooked me like more than a few times already, and it's just and the test and everything turned out okay, but she doesn't believe on the tests. This was another problem we were having because the symptoms and everything else. Oh gosh, trust me, it's the second time I got this thing to, and I have to drive like 1 hour and 10 minutes just to get to my house.
You got to take care. You got
Especially
to.
the traffic in the evening is really, is what really freaks me out. I don't mind going and just looking after my fares, but that drive is a killer,
Yeah,
and
you
it's
got
a
to.
bad traffic honestly on our freeways. I don't know about US, but it's bad here. Anyways, I did prepare some queries, and I prepared a list to begin with the file type with the colon sign. That is something that we had left out from what we were able to finish up earlier. But the file type is very important in so many ways because it has a very peculiar way of executing the commands. Even though it appears to be very simple, but there are a few things that we have to be aware of. And this is what I have tried to bring to your attention in this lecture today. But first of all, I want you to see that one thing you've noticed is I'm not using the slides today. I'm using my own notes, which I just made specially for you guys. And I'm going to ask you to tell me if you can see the fonts clearly, or if you feel that there is something that you want me to magnify here. I would do it right now before I start flipping the pages. Is
No.
this
I can
and
read it
anything?
fine.
Is it good for you, Aaron? As much as I'd like these,
I can see it. I can see it.
I wanted these red underlined uh, thing to be removed, but if you can just ignore it, because I didn't have the lot of time to get rid of them. But anyway, this is a list that I prepared, which is the extensions or the file formats that the search engine actually indexes, and you can access these file types. Not that you have to know all of them, but some of them may turn up to be handy, something that you didn't know before. We are all familiar with PDF, Microsoft Office extensions like doc files, XLS, and all that. But on top of that, there are other very important files or files which can really help you in so many ways. Like if you're doing some, if you want some images from Google Earth, you can use KML or KMZ, you know, for catching those images, especially in backdates. Some other formats that you can easily use, which generally we don't use as much. The .rtf file. .rtf is when you're looking for some programs, codes. Sometimes some of the programmers, they drop it online, and some of them do it intentionally, so that you take those codes, especially programmers like to borrow codes to just save time, and then there are something in there or some of the files which may be a malware or work as a spy file. So this has to be vetted carefully. But on the other hand, .rtf is used by a lot of programmers to extract the ready codes. Some of the graphics like .svg is available, even though JPEG and other formats like PNG, GIF are not available. However, surprisingly scalable vector graphics, which is what you can simply download and alter, using a program, which is any program that does edits, accepts the .svg file, scalable vector graphics. These files are generally used by printers when you are creating a document. For printing, you can actually get really nice outlines formats for those documents. But anyway, from what we have here, this list, we can choose, select. For now, this is the latest list that is available on from Google. But we are more interested in PDF files, and we are interested in XLS, PowerPoint, docs. This is what we'll focus on. This is the general search we do. PDF, I think I mentioned to you before, is the most important file, and it is one of the formats which is given precedence over other formats like XLS, docs, and TXTs and PowerPoints, PPTs, only because Google has given it a higher ranking for its value, or ranked it as a preferred format, when especially when you are comparing or looking for two types of formats in a single search. I'll show you the query how we can do that. But whenever you have PDF in there as a comparison or for a choice to give to the search engine, it's going to default on PDF all the time. And we'll do some examples on that. So why do we use file type mostly? If I have to find something which I know for a fact exists only in PDF formats, for instance, like newsletters are all downloadable and they appear in PDF formats, like brochures, pamphlets, flyers, specials, discount coupons. If you have to search for them, they will be only available in PDF formats that is a downloadable format of PDF. So in the first query I have used, I'm having a lot of problems with AOFIRS Unfortunately, those examples I had to drop and I had to recreate new ones, adding some better websites, or the websites that I know would not have this problem we are having with forwarding. So having switched all of that, I have created brand new search queries. So for instance, if we have to look for a file type in PDF format and we use it to query a certain specific site, we just put site:/AIIP.org, file type :PDF, and the word which I want to be found inside of that document or that specific PDF document. So this is the basics of when and how we normally use, in the simplest form, the PDF or the file type extension. So if I have to put this, I'll just simply copy paste. We have a lot of examples to go through. So this is the simplest one. I want you to note it down, that this is how we ideally would use the file type alongside site:, so to restrict it to a particular website. And then the word newsletter should not have anything to do with PDF or the format that we have defined or declared. You remember the file type is a property name, the :sign is a function, and PDF is the property, declared property. So the declared property is not going to interfere with the words or the keywords or search phrase you're going to put next to it, only that you have to put a gap of a single character in between. Site is to be used with the extension of the type of website, or the extension of the website, which could be .org, .ed, or whatever else is there. So if you're going to just put after site colon AIIP and don't put dot or any of the domain name extensions, it's not going to execute the query. So this is just the basic. Now let's get into the complexity of where things start to change. Here is another query. I'm just simply going to copy and paste, and I'll give you this document as well, so you have it as a record. Normally, when we go through these classes, we don't get a lot of time to really go too much deep into different variations of how it may work. I have had students that had a particular need for using file type, for instance, or any advanced search operators, and they keep asking that question. And some of the students only take these classes not just to do CIRS, but just so that in their own profession or for their own requirements, they can ask certain questions. And sort of that throws us off the track. In To avoid that, I have actually now developed these variants or different ways in which I have put them based on the situations uh, that I can imagine. So just keep it as a reference, and you can be as creative as you want with them. At least you would know some of the some of the ways that you can use them, and then you can customize it according to your needs. So I've now copied another type of query that I'm going to plug in into my search. In this one, I'm trying to find research papers. So typically, if I have to look for research papers myself, this is what I would do. Uh, I would create the query words or the search words outside of the quotation marks. I have to make a decision first, whether, or first of all, which keywords to use. Secondly, whether I should restrain it or restrict it to find exact match, or should I leave them open. So that is the most important decision. And when you put your advanced search queries later on is a secondary decision. Why it is important is because a lot of times we don't know exactly if the sequence of the words we have used can be restricted as a search phrase that may or may not be found. uh, and if we put our keywords in such a way that matching two of them or either of them in conjunction with each other or in association with each other or as a context to each other makes sense, I would rather leave them open for the search to find a better result, or at least find different variations of it, even to substitute, find synonyms for it. So the restrictor is removed. And a lot of times when you do your searches, you will also find that if you had put anything within quotes, the search engine would return something that says, please open up the quotation mark. Normally, this is what comes back from Google side. Not that it is asking you to change your advanced operators or giving you any other information, but notice every time it would just ask you to lose those quotation marks. That's all it does. So to begin with, I have not enclosed three of these terms inside of quotes. Then I've used file type operator to restrict it for finding the PDF version. At the same time, I also wanted search to look for the words. Now, after PDF, you could see that there is a gap of a single character, and anything that I use after that gap will not be attached to the word PDF, because PDF in the case of file type is not going to treat PDF as three individual characters to be addressed as a word of any sort. So this is where the difference is between how we use in URL, in text, and all those snippet advanced operator we did previously, where we used to put the textual content or the keywords. That could have caused the problem of how these words may have been combined had they been put right next to the colon sign. But in this case, with file type and the PDF declared, the search understands that it is the PDF is a restrictor and as not a word, and anything that is going to fall after it is going to be treated as a single word, a search phrase, or as we have done in this case, is I've taken two search words, research and journals, but I've given it a vertical bar. A vertical bar is to give it a choice for the search to find either the words research or the word journals. Either both of them would work nicely for me because I'm looking for research papers. um, I could have done it without the or sign, but that would create more problems in so many ways, which I am assuming that you would understand that if either of the words would work or both of the words are okay, then the or is going to fit in very nicely. But if we remove or totally, it is going to start combining the two words research journals as if it is a search phrase, or two words being more popular, higher in ranking, it's going to reach for the two words. But that's not what I want. I want the search to either look for a research paper or look for a source in journals. So that's why I've put the or vertical bar in between. And then I saw that the search was returning the news as well, the portion that had a mention of the word journals, even though it could be a PDF, but it may have been an extract that's been pulled out from news. The news is not considered for research purposes as a primary source. Generally, it is considered secondary source. And when you want to be really precise and authentic and you want that citation to be quoted, then you stick to the journals and research papers. So I, in URL, so you notice I did not put minus news in it. I put minus in URL colon sign and news. I don't know if you can figure out why I did that, but if you ask me, I'll explain it to you this way. In URL means that the portion that is going to come back to me from my search would have, or if it has anything to do with news, the word news will be part of the link or the URL, because here my source now is going to be defined exactly as coming from news portion, or the site that is taking me to some sort of a news article, which I do not need. So unless I do minus in URL, I won't be able to eliminate my source. In fact, if I just did minus news, it would only end up eliminating the word news, not the section or portion or the source where the news is supposed to be coming. So if someone has used in the content page the word news, that's only going to be eliminated, and not my source, where the link is going to define it as a path where the actual or the source of information is coming from. So I'm going to use minus in URL news. When I do that and I run the query, I get all these PDFs that is coming from where. No, I'm sorry, I did not even execute that. So let me just do. So I got my search results. I got, first of all of the PDFs documents. They are all saying that they're PDF. Second thing is internet search algorithm. So it could even have web search algorithms. If I had put them within quotations, it's going to stick to internet, won't change web with the internet. So, sort of opens up, gives it more leverage. Web search algorithms are here, ranking algorithms are here, but the words internet, research, somehow it opens up more opportunities for me to look up better results and search results. But then let's just see where the source is coming from. If the source has the word research in it, the word web research is here, journals, if there is a source that talks about it coming from the journals. Can you see if there is any word journals here? Because it's going to make its own choice. See? So if there is a word journals instead of research, it's going to show up. Research is showing up all right, but let's look at the journal. It should appear somewhere. Here it is, journal, from journals. So it is coming up in my search results. Anyway, you get the idea of why we have done this. Now, if I get rid of this one, let's see what's going to happen. I'm just going to do Control F and news. So I did get something coming from the news. And again, it is reconfirming that it is coming from the news section right here. I don't want it to be coming from news, so I'm just going to do minus, and the news portion is coming in the URL part. So in URL, news is going to eliminate that, hopefully. I don't see that anymore. Now let's go and do the next one. Any questions on this you can ask, and this is supposed to be like a Q&A session for us. Ideally, we should be able to discuss things because we are coming towards the end of finishing up building complex search queries. So you have all the privileges to ask any question you want today. Now, another one is preference of when we do our search, there is certain preferences that you have to be wary of. This is where the file type is going to throw you off the track a little bit to start giving you certain type of search results, especially when you have to search for two file types or two formats. Like in this one, we are using Elasticsearch as a word. We could even put two words here, it doesn't matter, but for ease of use, let's suppose there is one term, file type PDF, and then we have put the or sign, and then we are asking the search to look for HTML version as well. So between PDF and HTML version, you will find that whenever you do this kind of comparison, the PDF file will prevail, and you would be looking at the results that are primarily coming from PDF source. And in fact, the pages that will turn up, all of them, probably maybe three or four, at least the three or four first pages, you will have nothing but PDF documents, as a PDF is given precedence over HTML. Position changes. Now, this is another thing that we should be able to figure out if we pay a lot of attention to. Now, in this one, we've got the same search, except that we have removed the or sign. When we remove the or sign in between, we are basically not giving it an option to look for either file formats. In fact, we are negating our own objective of finding something by creating, by defining a format, and then defining another format just to confuse the search engine. So what the search engine would want is for you to give it a choice as an or. If you don't do that, then it just sort of gives it or makes it a cancel out effect. But guess what happens? What search does is it doesn't cancel anything on its own, but it starts to ignore. Ignore means it is going to ignore one of the file types and then make, as usual, its preference to find the PDF, okay, and not HTML. So this is how the algorithms are working today. When it changes or something else happens, you will find out, but for now, this is how it is working. Same way, if you switch it, like if you put file type in the first instance and instead of HTML, and move the HTML towards the end, it would all have the same effect where PDF will be found and not the HTML. I mean, we can run the queries. It's just that I have to manage between what the time that we have. But I did test them before I put them here. So just for your assurance, I'm going to try to see as much as I can. I'm going to run them. This is what Google's been doing with me. It doesn't believe me as being a human to operate somehow, because I've been using Google extensively, doing all these kind of things. They think I'm doing something called Google dorking, which means I'm, um, I'm trying to break into their code or something like that. Anyway, so stairs, let me just get rid of this. Hopefully nothing else. Stairs, okay. Invariably, you'd see PDF files are appearing, all of them. I don't even see HTML. And this is what you're going to experience as well. Why does this keep opening? Then let's look at the other one. Okay, so if you have to find two files at a time, and you are going to use a query like this one, where we are comparing or trying to find a format, a typical search where we are using PDF and also like to find doc files. By the way, doc files are not searched as much, only if you're looking for certain resumes, or you're looking for academics that have written some essays, something non-serious. You would find it in the doc file. Maybe certain forms that you may want to download, you can find some sample of some sample contracts or some legal documents that are available easily and that you can copy and reuse. You'll find it in a doc file. Of course, PDF, is something different. So the format, supposing you do want to find any type of information, generally that is not copyright protected, you would use doc. So Elasticsearch, again, PDF compared with the doc, you will find that doc file are not appearing, not because there is a technical issue with this type of search, because conventionally or algebraically, or the way the boolean is set and these two operators are set, there is no restriction in using more than one file types. However, given the number of pages that Google reveals these days, which are very much limited, you would see that PDF really overwhelms your search results, and that's all that you will end up finding. And perhaps doc files may appear later deep down in certain pages which are not returned back to you. So again, PDF is only good to compare with any other format. Um, well, um, only when you have a lot of search results and there is a likelihood that you would find the other comparable or other documents which is acceptable. Otherwise, just use it as a separate search. Do not mix it with any other search document. So if I do this, let's see if I can get any docs. But when I have done this search, I find that most of the results, in fact, all of them are PDFs. None of them are giving me doc files. And I have like 4 search results out of 86,800. The Google is only throwing at me what 50 times 4 is about 2,000 results. That's out. That's about it. No, 200 results actually. So I'm not getting enough results that would reveal the doc file for me. On the other hand, supposing I'm looking for the same word, but I'm using PowerPoint instead of PDF, and I do search, I should be able to find docs and PowerPoint, provided they are available. So here the idea is for you, see here I got doc and I got PowerPoint, so I could do search for both of them. So this is all I'm saying is that whenever you're using PDF in file type, see here is doc, and then we've got PDFs as well, and sorry, PowerPoints as well. So this is what we have, PowerPoints and doc files. So I guess that the point is gone across. Now on the type of file search that I normally would do using the XLS as a defined version of extension, I would look for or find something which has a data of some sort in Excel formats. So, I mean, I have to make up my mind, start using certain wordings and expecting those search results to bring a data file, which is ideally the Excel file, is going to be the wrong approach. So type of information you're looking for instance, that has to do with population count, census, anything that would have a data of information embedded in the Excel formats, use those wordings. Like I've used California population 2015, file types XLS or file type doc, both would work. So let's see what it will do. I would do the search now. I am able to find XLS, and let's see if I find doc files as well. Here, there is a doc file. But what happens if I use PDF right here? More than likely, I will only get PDFs. I won't get XLS like I was getting previously. So what does that say about file type? It says that whenever you're doing search for a PDF format, do it separately. Don't mix it. Don't try to match it with any other option of other file formats. Okay. All right. Let me use this one. When you are searching for two file types, like in this one, we've got PowerPoint file type :doc. What do you find different, or where do you see that there could be a problem? Aaron or Tammy, can you find out if the question comes in the exam and it asks you the same way, if this is correct or incorrect, would you say it is correct or incorrect?
Let's
And
say
if
it
it
is
is
correct
incorrect, why would you say that?
because it's asking you to find two file types. If it doesn't have two file types, it's not going to bring up any results.
So let's just check quickly. It looks like they're penalizing me for using Google these days.
Yeah, that happened to me today too.
That's when we start using, and I was doing some Google dorking. I don't know if you know the concept, but we do dorking, which means that we do rig the link at the top that you're looking at right now. Like we start to play with it a little bit, and then I get another screen, which is a red screen telling me that it is a warning. You may be you may be a hacker or whatever. And so it was, and they did block me for like several hours, and I'm still lucky because I have a contact in Google, in where's that? Uh, yeah, where is that? I forgot the name of the place. Where is that? Near Mountain View, in Northern California. I had to make a call to my friend, ask him to please get me off of this. Let me get back to because I have so many things that I do with this. And finally, I got out of it. I've heard people, once they get blocked, they're blocked for many, many months, you know. So be careful when you start playing with this, start changing some of this thing at the top and execute it. Google will notice it for sure. But anyway, this is and Tammy is right. So if I didn't put the or in between, I don't get any results. Did not match any documents. Right? These are the ads, these two of them. So nothing came back unless I put a vertical bar. It's not going to execute the commands. So there, now it is working fine. Okay, so this point is clear too. And now we move on to the next one. Multiple operators use with files. Okay, correct, incorrect, all that stuff is happening. Okay. So let me just see if I can just magnify this 100%. Okay. Okay, so we have 11 till 20. these are different ways in which I've written these search queries. Now I'm going to ask you if any of the, first of all, let me just remove, it's already revealed. So I just wanted to ask if which one of them are correct or incorrect. So let's just see the 11th, this one, it says California stroke deaths 2015 statistics. And then I say, I don't want anything coming back to me in the XLS format. So I used minus sign with file type colon XLS and turns out to be the correct approach. Then in 12, what I did is I wanted the search to not bring back the PDF versions or the XLS version. The question is, could I use two minuses to ensure that more than one of these formats, like, or one format or the other should not be part of my search results, or both of them should be ignored, both XLS and PDF. Will this work, you think?
I would say yes.
I think it should work. I don't see any problem with this. Now let's try if we do, well, there is no sense in putting or when you're using minus sign. Minus means you don't want them. So, you know, so you don't want either of them. I think it should work. Should we try it? Let's give it a shot. We don't want XLS, we don't want PDF. So we didn't get XLS, we didn't get any PDFs so far. So I think this worked all right, but let's suppose if I put or, what's going to happen? Never done this one. So let's see. It did show me PDF right here. So it did work, eh? So I'm going to copy this and put it in the list and say 12.1. Can you put this in your notes, Tammy?
Yes.
Okay. Then we have, I'll give you the notes, Aaron. You won't miss anything. California
Yeah, okay. Go ahead. Just keep going.
statistics, file type XLS, file type incorrect. Why is this incorrect, you think?
Again, you have two file types and no or.
No or sign. Okay. So when we do this alongside all these different words, so we are asking search to at least find any of these words, except that these two are conflicting with each other because there is no or sign. But I think what search might do is just look for the PDFs and ignore XLS. I think,
No,
I'm not sure. What do you say?
it did
Let's
that
try.
earlier. Yeah, I would think so. That's what it did earlier.
Look at this. Google really hates my, using, see, it didn't work. The reason why it worked previously is because we put the or sign.
Okay.
Okay. So there is a conflict. We don't want that conflict. But whenever we put an or sign, it would default onto PDF. That's what we did previously. So XLS will be ignored, and overwhelmingly you will find all the results coming in the PDF as a PDF format files. So this is the reason why XLS will be ignored. It may just come through later on when we have put the or sign, that is, right? But this is what we have cleared up. Now let's go and look for We are also experimenting with the VPNs right now, and we have investigative research assignment, which is very interesting, and I'm working on it these days. I'm figuring out more about some of these search queries. Seems that Google has another type of search engine that you can create only with special permission, and they give you a code which they have given us, and that code is to create your own little search engine in-house, you know. um, I don't know if later on we'll put that in the book, or it'll be the piece of with that. That's really exciting, you know, something that goes beyond just creating advanced search queries. Ideally, they would not want the common user to do that, is because I think they would rather, you know, have them take the long route and to feel that it has some complexities behind it, and not to make it or not to reveal it as something that is very, you know, very standard, usual, or not that difficult. So to just build that complexity, they're sticking to those operators. But on the other hand, they've created really super filters with the code that they have given us, which of course is not revealed like totally, where certain files are basically executed in combination with you know, the IP addresses that takes those codes to a certain destination, and half the code gets executed on the other side. But the end result is that we do get more refined results. We do get a lot more results than they would be revealing these days with the common search that we do. Anyway, so move forward with this. XLS, we've done this one. We've done this one. Now, supposing you have to find, let's suppose you have to find the source of the citation, or a lot of times, especially librarians, they have to look for the author to find the citation, you know, linked to a certain person, or may just remember partial name, not the whole name, so that, you know, it's otherwise it's difficult to find exactly the same match. um, so there are certain ways in which we can find the source of that citation or references to those citations wherever they exist on the internet. And we do it with using around operator, which is a proximity operator, if you remember. So we're going to try some of these right here to get a sense of how we can find that piece of information for you know, revealing the source. Then what else we have? Mind your structure. Okay, this is very important. We're gonna just mark it in red color. I don't want to miss this one. Let's just convene in about 5 minutes. I'm just going to go through this one quickly, and then when I return, we'll finish up all these. Um, and then we have to start with specialized search engines. That is another maybe 6 slides that I have to finish today. So let's just get back 5 minutes, take a break, and I'll see you soon. Okay. Okay. So one of the searches I've done here with the file type, I'm only sharing with you what I normally search for, and based on, you know, assuming that you perhaps would make it more useful by just learning how to use the file type effectively. Like in the file type PDF, I wanted research papers that has a citation for Bhaskar Mitra and Nick Karswa. So I get a lot of results, which turns out that the same paper has been used in different papers as a reference, as a citations. So I get literally the entire set of information wherever it exists that has a reference to Bhaskar Mitra and Nick Carswell, for example. The other search that has different versions of the same is this one, which I felt perhaps you can also add the around operator with the words that we'd like be present in between. Because here the situation was, when I started, I did not remember the last name of Mitra, or the first name Bhaskar. I wondered what the first or the last name is. So I just use around in between to find the PDF that has the entire set of wordings that was missing in between. I remember it couldn't be more than 3 words. So I used the around operator and I got the whole thing. The name of Bhaskar Mitra, the first name, was revealed to me. And in between Nick, I forgot the first name of Croswell. So I had put in 3 as an approximate number. I could have put 4 or 5 as well. But generally, because these citations, when the more than one person is involved, you don't have to put a very lengthy number of words to occur in between. Sometimes they are not appropriate. Sometimes they throw you off from what you're looking for. So you have to be a little bit more concerned about the number of words that you put with around. And by the way, I don't know if I told you that around operator you can use in small fonts and also as the capital letters, not the fonts, I'm sorry, the small alphabets as well as in the capital letters. So I normally use small letters when I'm using around, and it works fine. Then we have another one, which is where I have not used file type at all. I've used an operator in text, and I wonder why it might be necessary sometimes to use in text instead of file type. And first of all, let's execute that. We've got far too many results. We've got 4,240 versus 33, I guess we got previously. That's because I used in text instead of file type. Why would you think, Tammy, we used in text instead of file type PDF? Or would it been preferred? In what situation it was preferred in this query?
In-text is looking for the words in all text. File type, I'm not sure. I don't, if it's file type PDF, I don't recall, but
I think one of the reasons could be that I needed something come back to me in HTML format as well as in any other format, so not to restrain it to a specific format. And in text meant that it could be in the deeper layers somewhere on the web pages as a citation, as a reference somewhere. And therefore, I got more results. I probably also got references of where else Mitra and Crosswell has been used, if not necessarily in the PDF format of research papers. So it gives me a broader perspective of where these references can be found. And if that same piece of information is put in the in different formats, it could even show up in PDF as well. So it's not going to restrict anything for me in that sense. So I even got PDFC right here, except that I got a broader search results, 4,240. In this one, I have used in URL. And then I've used in text also. So what have I done here? I've told the search to find the source that takes me to a website which is more authentic or more reliable. So I made sure that the URL has the word edu in it, definitely as an extension of a website that takes me to an academic zone of some sort of educational institution. And then in text means that it could be a reference somewhere in this website or edu source which talks about a citation with Mitra and Craswell. So this is where I've used both of these. And my source will reveal that it is coming from the educational institution library Cornell. So it is always better sometimes when your reliability of the source is of concern, you would use in URL with .edu. It could be not the dot, just the edu part. Do not put a dot after the colon sign. Here is one more version. This one I've used in URL colon org or in URL colon edu. In text citation, everything else remains the same, except that now my source from where I would like to get the information is either through any organization or through the educational institution. So if I execute that, let's see, do I get either one of them or both? So I got org. So it's not that search is only looking for the first instance of where it is mentioned to, or where it starts with org. This is not the reason why org is coming right here. It should have something, see. There's the PDF. .edu. Here it is, .edu. So it's going to find the relevancy of whatever you are querying about, and relevancy in terms of where the source is being searched globally as the most searched uh, words coming from either the edu or org. So it is making its own decision because we have put an or here. Okay. Now query structure is important. Let's see if we can do it like this. Let's do the incorrect version first. So here you can see that I've put file type colon doc, then census 2013 Elasticsearch, 2 terms I want in the doc, but after that I've put a vertical bar as an or, and then put file type XLS. You see the problem? Let's try it out. It's just giving a doc file, nothing to do with XLS. It is a search that we would rather not be putting as query. In fact, what we should do is move file type doc from here. And because we are giving it an or, so we have to put where the or is compared between the two formats, right? Against each other, next to each other, as on one side and on the other side. So anything that is compared or executed as a preference between the two, they have to occur on either side of the or operator. So let's suppose if I do it like this and I execute that. I got better results. In fact, this is the correct way of using your OR operator with the file type. Even with other with other queries that you are using with the advanced operators, any kind of operators, if these are a comparison between the two, it has to be one next to another with the OR in between. Okay. Some of the ways that you can execute similar query is, and that is without using the file type, you can do it this way. Can you see this?
I can see it, yeah.
This is unconventional way of finding something without using file type, especially where the file type um, is not supported. So what I've done is I'm looking for IRS form 1040. I've used a colon sign which says to the search engine that now you have to execute it in the same format, where on the left hand side you are defining or declaring a property against the property name, which is the PDF version. So if I do it this way, it'll find me the forms 1040, and not only just the PDF, but anywhere where PDF file is mentioned. Because when you do file type colon with the PDF, it is telling the search to find the PDFs only. But when you are executing your search this way, it's going to find PDFs, plus it's going to find in the deeper context or deeper contents of web pages any mention of the word PDF in it. So here we can assume that you may end up landing on a web page that does point you to a PDF document, but it may not necessarily be a PDF link that you can readily download like right away. So this is why, the difference. So here you could see that we do get PDFs. We do get information about form 1040 and the mention of the word PDF with it. Okay. So you get a lot more results this way. You see, you got 1,270,000. But if I put file type, let's see how many results we get. Anyway, so form 1040 is popular, so it is getting it from everywhere. It is a higher number, but I wouldn't really worry about the number right now. Rather look at the form in which I need it. So with this, everything is PDF, everything is PDF. But without the file type, there is a mention of PDF, and not necessarily all of them are going to be just downloadable PDF. This is the only difference. This is not a downloadable PDF. This is the downloadable PDF. It is marked by a PDF right here. Usually when you are on a website that is really lengthy and it has a lot of navigation pages, and you don't want to get lost in it, and supposing there is some word that you can think of which in your opinion could be more useful for getting exactly to that particular web page, is to phrase your search this way, where you're putting, let's say, IRS form 1040 PDF, and then use the word help. For instance, it would take you to the page which is talking about how to fill up the form or give you more information, or it has frequently asked questions. You can do that. Another query that we'll do is related. Now, related, I think I did mention it before. What related means is, if going back to your header portion of HTML, there was another tag that said keyword in it, and that keyword tag has certain type of information which is short phrases or keywords or something that defines what that site is about. Normally gives you an indication of what you expect in terms of goods and services that are being offered by those websites. So those keywords are matched with other websites that have similar keywords, which you want compared with the defined site. As in this case, you can see that we have aiip.org, and we are saying that find anything that relates to the similar type of business using same type of keywords that we call related, and use the operator related with with a colon to find your competition or others that using exactly same type of goods and services identified by those keywords. So if I do related aip.org, let's see what we're going to find. Hmm. It's going to find all other websites that are similar to AIIP, like ala.org. This is, I think, American Library Association. AIIP, by the way, is the site that talks about, it's an association of independent information professionals. Most of them are librarians, especially the directors, and some of the information is coming directly from ALA. Or they have some affiliations with ALA. So the result is that besides, you don't see the AIP.org, but rather something that is comparable to AIP.org. So as a result, you would see all these websites. Okay. Similarly, CNN.com, which is what I use as an example, mostly you'd see all the competitors of those websites or that particular website that are in news agencies, news businesses. Mostly this works really nicely when you are putting the name of a large corporation or big organization that is well known. It doesn't work all that great for smaller businesses. So I know I usually call it somewhat flaky in that way. However, it works, and it is something that the search engine is declared as the known, or as the type of operator you can use in Google search specifically. It is, I think in Bing they use similar with the colon sign. So it may be a little worded differently, but related with the colon sign in Google search, this is what it's going to do. Alternatively, we can also use it in another way, like let's see. Oh, by the way, yeah, related, yeah, this is where it is a little bit tricky. Is you don't normally use related with and compare the two different relateds in the same search query. Let's see, it is saying it's incorrect. So let me try it. It is incorrect. So when you're using related, you don't use any other operator. And similarly, if you're using all in title, if you're using all in URL, all in text, do not put any other operator in it. Like don't even do or, all, and then all in title, and then put or sign and compare it with another all in title, because that would not work properly. It works, but it is jittery, it's flaky, it's not recommended. So whenever, so the rule is all, you don't, you want to use it with wherever it is applied on the operator. And also in this case, when you're using related, do not use it twice in the same query, not even with the vertical bar. Okay, what else we have? Now we have another one we call source. Source with a colon sign. Now source is, first of all, let me just execute this one and then I will explain what we use it for usually. Source is when we want to find out on a website, which has to have, by the way, the website address. So you cannot put like a text here. You do not put anything that is just keywords or search phrases. You have to declare the property as the website, which means the source now has to look for cnn.com wherever it is mentioned. And if it is even on the third party web pages where the link is set that brings you to the cnn.com, or if even if there is a mention or there's a video or any type of file that has anything to do with cnn.com, will be revealed by using source with the colon. So I'm going to use this one as an example in our search. So we've got newssource.ns.cnn.com. It is coming from some sort of subdomain of CNN. CNN.com obviously will be mentioned. At the same time, you would see as a source, it is mentioned in Wikipedia, even though it is not the main website. Play.google.com has a mention of it. So all the sources are revealed. Like, in different ways, it can be set up on other web pages. Even Twitter account will reveal, source code is going to get revealed. All sorts of links that has any mention of CNN.com. Okay. Then we are going to do this example and see what it does. So what did I want from this query is to find in the source cnn.com, which means it is not the site operator, mind you, it is not the in URL, it is source is what we are using. So asking the search to first go and look for any of those mentions anywhere on the Google index pages, and also to look for the words Donald Trump, which in fact should come from in URL. That means that comes from a section of news. So it could be the same story that has to do with Donald Trump, but it may have been there sitting somewhere in the deep down some pages mentioned, earlier or before or long time ago or in any archives. But as long as that is a news archives, even on third party, it is going to be mentioned in the URL. See Donald Trump. This is type of searches we do when we're doing data scraping, just collecting information wherever it exists. So these are deeper queries. And this is where I have used the word Donald Trump, and I'm going to execute this right now. So we've got all these results, Donald Trump, CNN, but not necessarily CNN all the time. It could come from other platforms also like dig.news. So I know that this mention is coming from a similar site that is a news site, and for better assurance, I wanted the URL to contain the word news in it. So I think so far so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Link is the, when we were moving from our existing website to a new one, lot of our main links that were attached to our original domain airsassociation.org started getting dropped, and we had to actually ensure that whichever links Google has absorbed or collected in the past so many years
Cache.
are addressed, and so for forwarding reasons. So I had to find all my links that are there in the that are that exist in the Google search engine. So the query that I had to run was the simplest one, where I would just put link and then colon and then airsassociation.org. But right now notice I'm not using airsassociation.org, but let's suppose it is AIP.org for now. So it is going to collect all the links, including anchor links. Anchor links are the links that run behind a word, a text that is hyperlinked, which you see in blue color usually, that you put your cursor on or hover over it, you would see that it is actually a link behind. So if you click on it, it's going to take you away onto that page, right? So those are called anchor links.
Mm-hmm.
Even anchor links are revealed. What is important about anchor links is that sometimes the search is not going to find anchor links because it is only looking at the wordings, or it is so much focused on the word itself, or give just checking the textual meaning of it and then matching your keywords and all that, that it would not look at the link that is running behind it. And because we don't want to miss out on those links, we used to have from Google another type of operator. It was called in anchor or all in anchor, but they've depreciated that. It doesn't exist anymore. So the best way, or the only way we can get hold of that is by using link uh, operator with the colon sign. So anyway, so that's just besides the point. The thing is that I'm going to try to use it,
Yeah,
and
I want to
let's
see
see
what it
what
looks
it's
like.
going to do.
See what it
Yeah.
looks like.
Yes. So simplest one, I need to find all the links that contains that belong to AIIP.org website. So all Association of Independent Research Specialists, even the blogs are revealing LinkedIn connections. So even social media, whatever is out there is just going to be pulled. That has a link to this domain name. Okay. So this is where we use the link. It is very powerful, and you can, by the way, these are the type of operators you don't want to mix with any other advanced operators. Even Booleans are not going to work with these. So this is something that I want you to be mindful of. Coming back to the same list, what you don't want to mix with any other operator, as I mentioned, anything that has the word all in it attached to the operator itself, or these operators like related, source you can, but let's just move this up here. Well, and then I'm going to lose my sequence. Okay, so the ones that are in red, you don't want to mix with any other operator. These three. So so these are a few exceptions. Now, besides link, let's look at another one which is similar to link. It used to be around, and they say, Google says that it's depreciated and we should not use
I
it
ain't gonna mess
anymore.
with it.
Yeah, info with the colon sign, but it does work. I mean, it's not like it's totally gone away, but it does something similar to link, except that info, like, let's just run it first and then I'll explain. Okay, so between this one and the other one, we use link. I'm just going to, for comparison reasons, I'm just going to look at the number of search results, get an idea of how they might be different. Here you've got 34,300 results coming when you used link, and when you used info, you got 27,600. So not much of a difference. Originally, info was actually invented for finding news sources. like to see which of the news sources, broke the news or brought it first, or piece of information where it originated from. So we used to use info because it had links to the multimedia, to the web, to the YouTube sources, that is, and images and everything else. So it used to bring all sorts of file formats and everything put together. But now with the link, we know that everything that is there, even with the YouTube, those links are there. I mean, links, nothing works without links, except that the when we use link versus info, the only difference that I saw, which sort of made a bit of a sense, differentiating between the two, was that info had more links to multimedia and other file formats, versus link itself, which were pure links and nothing else. So having said that, I mean, you can see, I mean, we just have to be mindful of what is coming out, and there is a lot of information like these pages, which has images and everything that is coming for AIIP, uh, would be revealed. Books that has a mention of AIIP would be revealed, and so on. So it is still a data scraping, but I would combine info and link together and then start to sort them out to see what is, because they overlap each other in a certain way. But I would, if I have to do some investigative research, I use both of these. However, info with a colon sign is not recommended by Google. So it is unconventional, yet it works. Okay, so I think we are done with at least these search queries. I'm going to go back and remember the file I sent you, I think yesterday, about a list of all the different types of search queries. I think these are the ones that we did use earlier, some one way or another. But if we haven't, then these are all that I had put together. But I still feel that there is a portion of complex search queries that can be addressed if we do few more searches. And this is 39. Okay, so I'm going to be more selective because we don't have to do all of them. Let's see. Let's take this one. This is a long one. Okay. I think I should, it is a long one. It's better I put it here. Supposing we have this search query now. What am I trying to do here is that I'm trying to find these words which
in that book.
In that book, correct. And the book title is missing. I don't remember the book title, but I'd rather have the book title found somewhere, or a reference to a book title found in Amazon site on this platform. And earlier I kept getting search results that brought these words which I didn't need. So I started to eliminate them one after another. Notice that I did not put them all in one quotation, within one quotation marks, or in any other way except to put each of these words with a minus sign that would get rid of them individually. So I've used it like at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and still it did get executed. So if my restraint on the number of characters I could use in the length of a search query is, let's suppose, 160 characters or 80 characters, which Google keeps changing, it would look at my search query by counting the numbers from left to right, and each of these characters, including the quotation mark, is counted as a single character. Even a single gap that you have in between words is also counted. So let's suppose all of them turns out, assuming that this is the one that I've highlighted, is assuming they're like 160 words, which is the maximum. It would just ignore these two on its own. So it's not going to make a choice between selecting, any one of these minuses just to reduce the length of the query. Rather, it's just going to go and look for the ones that are towards the end or tapering off in the length of this query, when the number of characters are exhausted as being the maximum characters it can accept. So this is just FYI, just for your information. But for now, let's suppose that this is what we wanted to do, and let's execute this query. Extractors. All right. Gosh, I'm so hungry today. I skipped my lunch, and I really want to eat something as soon as I finish. So I'm excited about finishing our session today for the first time. Usually I take longer, goes over time. Anyway, so what's coming up now? Let's see. I got, did I get the book title here? It says, now it is recommending that I lose the quotation marks. But do I want to lose it? No, because I'm getting my search results. If I'm not getting anything at all, I would probably take the advice. But because I know that these wordings belong to a book for which I have to find the title, I would let it be there. Amazon in Gratitude, Ying Chen is the author, and this is the book. So if I click on it, I should get to this book, hardcover. Now the wording that I'm looking for, I'm going to have to do Control F and find So what happens if you feel that you're not getting exactly what you want? Try to see if you can find this. I'm going to give you the query. Just let's see if you can. Where is it? Where is my chat? I want a book title found, and I want these wordings to be present, and we need the name of the author. So we need the book, find the book, find author, find the book title, find author name on Amazon.com. This is what I want. So what should I do? First of all, let me just, so what we do when we run into this situation, we just try to reduce the number of words and everything else that is there, which would make it more compact. And if that doesn't work, then we are going to lose the quotation marks, thinking that maybe we wrote those search phrases incorrectly. Okay. And then book title we can put fine, but not necessarily within quotation marks. And then we can use another word, author, and let's see if that works. So first of all, I got rid of the last four words that I had put in minus sign. Now I'm going to look for it. What is it saying? I would always rather be happy than dignified. Control F. Happy. Then I'm going to look for another word, dignified. It's not there. What is next? I'm still not getting it. What should I do next? Next is I'm going to get rid of the stop words, get rid of the quotation marks, and then try to find it anywhere that is available, that it is available. So I'm going to remove the restricted site.
It's not a book title.
Here.
I mean, I know that's what you're looking for. I found it, but that's it right there. Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte.
Yes, Jane Eyre book quote.
Yeah.
So anyway,
so let me ask you a question. So
yes.
the point is, you either have to be, when you're too specific, you have to become more general. Is that it?
Yes, you have to open up the search, give it more of a freedom for the search engine to look for these words, and just remove restrictors that you have put in before. Like usually we construct the query, we can construct it two ways. One is that when I'm sure that those wordings are correct, or I know where to go as far as reaching out to the source, I would just construct the query first and then plug it into the address bar. On the other hand, if my search requires for me to find out more about the words that is missing or the piece of information, I don't know where I'm going to get it from, like not being able to identify the source, I would just then start to remove any other restrictors I've put in. So you expand and you reduce depending on your approach or the type of information that you already have in hand. So this is just to show you that there are certain this is a process, and the process means that you're always going to look at your search results and then make your search query more I guess more relevant and more reliable by just matching it with the search results. And every time you change your search query or the way you've structured your search query, you're going to look at the quality of the results. Sometimes quality matters a lot. It could be generic words or a generic subject. So you're going to look at the source and identify it with the relevancy and the quality of search results. So it's just relative, it just depends on what your search objective is and where you feel that, you can make it broad or you can make it narrow. Anyway, these are just some examples. Let's suppose you are a writer and you want to explore opportunities where you can submit your writing, or if somebody is inviting writers to place their blogs or information on their websites, we can create this query right here as an example. So guest posts wanted, guest posts accepted. So accepted and wanted could be two opportunities, but they would eventually mean the same thing. If you look at it, depending on how those opportunities or wanted signs are placed, you may want to explore both the words to see if the guest posts are wanted by someone or someone is accepting some guest posts, for instance. So what you do is you again put the or sign in between the two words you uh, want the search to accept as, um, as being, accepted as either of them to be correct. Then you can just put them the way I've placed it right here. Okay. And then in URL, you want to make sure that these jobs are from 2020. So you are going to put in URL 2020, for example, supposing. So this would become 2020. And why in URL is because normally the information or anything that has to do with publishing the job requirements or something like that has in its URL the year defined, or just has the entire date. But like the example we did previously, if the date it does not have periods in it that separates day and the month, then we'll run into a problem, which means that it'll appear to be a long digit like 20201315 or something like that. Then it would not work. But generally the convention is that even in the links, they put the year separate, or they put the entire date with the periods in between to separate the day and the month, for the entire date to appear there. So for that reason, I'm going to just use 2020, assuming there is a period or dot for the month and the day we don't know of. Then in title, I've used the word wanted writers, blog writers. Wanted. I think this is a repetition. Blog writers. So this is how I'm going to pose it. In title means sometimes the title has an advertised, or proactively someone might have used it in the title part of the page where you have those jobs listed, or the websites that says jobs available, careers and things like that. So the title part is where that information is presented in the snippet. And because of for that reason, you also used in title. And then you can also start doing your searches this way. Like for example, you can start like this, and then if you don't get the right results, you can add or build up more powerful query, add more opportunities by using in title, for example, or using in text. In text takes you even deeper. So let's suppose that this is the query we have made, and if we have to execute that, guest post writers wanted. See, we've got these guest bloggers wanted, or accepted. Is there something that says accepted? Writers wanted, control F, accepted. Accepted, accepted. Uh, anyway, got this thing. Today we are just doing queries. So if you have anything particular that you want to query, you want to ask, we can do it now. We won't be able to get back to it like next week. So if generally I have students asking me all sorts of type of searches they are more interested in. So if you have that thing that you want me to work with or to to show you, I made a mistake, sorry. I can do that now. So this is another one long search query. It is part of the complex search queries we use to do deep searches, and I'm going to describe it here. So what do we have here? We have a search for, if we are searching for someone who is hiring copy editor, proofreader, or copywriter. So whenever you're using or, these words are important because one has to be a substitute for another, or it could be a variant of that word. This is where we want to make sure that it is not contradicting, or it is not the kind of words that you are comparing or asking the search to find, which may not have um, a relationship or a meaningful, or would lose the objectivity, and you want to avoid that. So copy editor, proofreader, copywriter. Jobs is another word you want, but you're not saying copy editor jobs, proofreader jobs. You don't want to repeat. So anything that's repeating, you don't want to have to put it next to these words, where individually, if you weigh them, they're totally different in the way they're spelled, yet these are the job descriptions. However, the job itself is a separate word. I wouldn't use it any other way. um, Another thing I could do is put jobs, and then put or job with the singular. Could be other variations I could do. Minus resume, I'm not looking for resume as if there could be a false positive. The search engine might consider the word hiring as someone is actually an employer. No, I'm sorry, is someone looking for a job. So it is to find someone who is hiring, a company or some recruiter. So it is the word hiring that is used in the meaning of whoever is hiring a copy editor or a proofreader. Um, and then you've got the word job here. You've got jobs and job. Okay, minus resumes. Of course, you're not looking for resumes, because a lot of websites start turning up, like indeed.com, simply hired. They've vandalized the web, like totally vandalized it. I mean, wherever you go, you put the word hiring jobs and they just come up. You don't want that. You don't want sample resumes. You don't want curriculum vitae. So curriculum vitae I've put within quotations, minus recruiters. I don't want recruiters. I want the direct employer. I don't want samples. In URL, I want to ensure that it is taking me to a section that talks about jobs. And then we've got the year 2019. Notice that there are two sets of numbers. One is the year, which the search engine recognizes automatically. So if you're putting something in 4 digits that corresponds to the year of some sort, or gives a notion that you are defining the year of the occurrence of this event, or whatever we are asking for, it will be separated automatically from other numbers. Like for instance, 32835 is a zip code for Orlando, for Florida. So 32835 would automatically by default be considered a zip code. So here I'm trying to find a job with the in URL having, see, in URL might cause a problem, because as I said, and, we've learned that whatever words you put inside of in URL has to be exactly same that would match the links. So I wouldn't really use in URL as much. Let's try this first and see what it brings. If it works or if it doesn't, we'll apply the same methodology, where if we fail, we are going to have to make some changes. So this is a very long query, and whenever we do long queries, it's not for sure that it's going to execute perfectly. And we do put it long enough that in case if it doesn't work, we should be able to correct it. Correcting your search queries is a part of your research work when you do it online. And that's why you have to learn the method in which, or the way I'm correct making corrections as well. So this is not meant for you guys to think of as perfect queries that I'm presenting, but queries that may require some filtering. Okay, so what is this doing? I don't like the way it has come back. It is the jobs, sitemap, jobs. It is a job site of some sort. I don't want that. So I'm going to have to make the corrections. Now going back to the Blackboard. First of all, let me check if I made any mistake in putting this query. First thing I will do is get rid of in URL. This is always a restraint that makes your search query really mess up. So got rid of that. So I got my 11 results. Now let's go back to the drawing board. And what I did in the second instance, one I did not like. So the second one that I did, I got rid of this one. Now let's see what it brought us back. So jobs, hiring, okay. Somebody is hiring, copy jobs near me now, hiring, snag a job, copy jobs, apply online. So it is bringing me, the companies that I don't want, the hiring companies. But anyway, so we will start to correct it, to start eliminating certain websites. Issue, Dr. Philip, post by Maggie. Okay, so they are hiring in 2019. I think I used, did I use to? Yeah, I used 2019. Jobs, career, hiring providers, job careers for sponsorship and vendor space. Maggie, she's a copy. She's looking for copy editor. They're hiring employees in Orange County, Florida, zip code 32835. And these two numbers are separated. This is automatically recognized as a job availability in that particular place. So this is a good query, actually. I mean, you should use it if you're looking for any jobs. I'm just going to mark it here in red color. So I think we've done quite a bit today. We've done a lot of practical examples. Don't you think, Tammy and Aaron? Did you guys learn a lot today? You think?
I learned a lot.
You did, eh?
Yeah, it's
And
a whole
Tammy,
lot.
how about you? Any questions? Tammy, you there? Tammy? Okay, so she left already. All right.
You said
So
you're hungry, right?
Yeah, I'm hungry. I got to go. You got to eat too, Aaron.
Okay.
All right. So thank you so much. All right. And have a great night and take care of yourself. I'll see you on Tuesday next week. And I'm also sending out exams for the final exam, that is for module 1, networks and internet technology, because Tammy needed it.
Yeah. But I want you to understand. I want you to understand. For me,
yeah, so
I have to study this stuff. This is new to me, you know.
Not a problem. It'll stay with you until 31st of December. After that, it'll get renewed for another 90 days. So not an issue. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, take it easy. All right.
Okay.
Thanks. See you next time. Bye-bye.